What's up, guys? Welcome to another video. So in light of a new president with the claim that he's going to make America great again being elected into the USA, I thought I would create a new FPV trick tutorial because I want to make trick tutorials great again. You know? This is going to be the greatest trick tutorial anyone's ever seen. Anyway, the trick today is not a simple trick. It's not a beginner trick. This is a more advanced trick, and the trick is called a BARANI, and this is what it looks like in real life. So that's the trick, and just to show you what your drone will be doing, it's going to go underneath the gap. You're going to power loop up. When you're upside down, you're going to do a 180 yaw spin, then inverted yaw spin, then you're going to matty flip back under the gap. Off you go. Just like that. Simple as that, eh? All right, let's see if it is simple. Let's get into it. So in order to be able to pull off the BARANI, I believe there's a few things that you need to know first. There's your BARANI. Now, in order to be able to do that, there's three parts. There's obviously the power loop. There's the inverted yaw spin, half an inverted yaw spin, and the matty flip. Oh, sloppy one there. So I think that the most in fact, I'm going to assume if you're watching this that you can already do those three tricks. Because if you can't do them, there's no point in trying to do this trick, to be honest with you. So let's start with the first practice trick that I will say you will need to learn and get competent with. Find yourself an empty area where there's nothing around and just practice this over and over again. Half a power loop, half 180 inverted yaw spin. And what you want to learn to do here is get quickly into your yaw spin, because you don't want to be doing something like this and you're upside down and you're like, oh god, it's too late, and you haven't got enough time to do your inverted yaw spin. And I've done a tutorial on inverted yaw spins before, go check it out. So throttle up, pitch back, drop your throttle, yaw. And a good way to practice this, in my opinion, is aim for something. I'm going to aim for this electrical box here. And I'm going to go do my half power loop. I'm going to do my 180 yaw until I see that I'm perfectly 180. I can see this power box again. So you can aim for a tree or whatever. I can see it, flip forwards. And that is how you practice and perfect your 180, because if you do less than 180, you're going to be in the wrong position for the matty flip at the end. Okay, so when you've got that down, I would say another useful trick is this one. And I say this because it gets you used to adding an inverted yaw spin into your power loops. Go through the gap, throttle up. As soon as you see the horizon behind you come back into view, that's when you cut your throttle, zero throttle, and then just do your spin. Then just roll out of it. Alright, I'm just going to stop there for a moment because I want to stress the importance of learning those two trick combos first. And the reason why I say that is because the last part of the BARANI, the matty flip, is the hardest bit. So by learning these two trick combos, you will set yourself up as in the best possible way so that you've got the perfect positioning for your matty flip. Because
The last part is where I fail most often, so you want to give yourself a best possible chance. So the half power loop with the 180 inverted yaw spin will teach you the proper technique so that you can swiftly and quickly, after you've gone inverted, snap into that inverted yaw spin. You don't want any delay from your half power loop to your inverted yaw spin. And secondly, aiming for the object like I spoke about, where you're going towards an object, you do your half power loop and your 180 yaw spin. That will allow you to learn the proper technique so that you know exactly when to stop, and yeah, just learning how to do a correct 180. And I would say don't worry too much if your horizon isn't straight. I do BARANIs all the time with a wonky horizon and they still come out good. And secondly, the other combo that I was talking about was the power loop with the inverted yaw spin. And the reason why I say this is a good idea to learn is because this will teach you how to start adding inverted yaw spins in the middle of your power loops. And not just that, I don't know exactly what prop and motor combination you are going to be using, so I can't tell you the exact amount of throttle that you will need. And so this is a good way to start learning just how much throttle you need to push yourself up and over the object, and with enough backwards momentum so that you can get your inverted yaw spin in and clear the obstacle basically. And so if you've got those two techniques down, then you're ready to start learning the full trick combo, which is the BARANI. And stay tuned to the very end, because I've got one extra, I will say, magical cheat code kind of tip that I have learned and I implement, and it helps me nail the BARANIs way more consistently. So stick around for that. And one last thing before we get back into the BARANI tutorial, there is another trick which is very similar to this one, and it's a half power loop to a roll, then to a Matty flip, almost like an Immelman to a Matty flip. Now, in my opinion, that's not a BARANI. That's an awesome trick in its own right, and it's not easy, but that's something completely different. And in this trick that I'm teaching you today, you shouldn't be touching the roll stick. There's no roll added at all. It's only throttle, pitch, and yaw. Don't touch your roll stick. With that said, let's get back to this tutorial.
I would suggest doing this over something high like this. If you can find something that has an even higher object next to it, that will really help you a lot. Maybe do it in between two trees, because you'll be able to spot your exit. See, I can kind of use the lamppost there to help me out. So when you go into it, like I spoke about before, you want to throttle and pitch back. Cut your throttle when you see the horizon behind you, and that is when you add your 180 yaw, exactly the same as you were doing in the field. And you need to make sure when you're doing this trick that you add enough throttle, backwards throttle, so it's going to carry you over the gap, because the worst thing is to do this and then, oh no, I'm still on this side of the gap. So you need to make, but don't add too much throttle, as in don't cut it too late, because then you're going to be too far behind the gap. So you need to practice adding the right amount of throttle and cutting it at the right points. When you're going for the exit, this is where a lot of people fail, because I feel it's probably because they rush their exit. And this is very similar to the dolphin dive that I was talking about before. You want to pitch forwards for your Matty exit and just let gravity do the work. Spot your exit, spot your exit point, and only add throttle back in when you need it. Pitch, now throttle. You see that? So throttle up, let go of your throttle, pitch, add your throttle back. You know, they're not always clean. This is an advanced trick, and I mess this up a lot. And the better you are, more in control you are with your power loops, because if you can get it tighter and start your inverted yaw sooner, it's a lot easier. Like that, it was a really tight one. Once you feel confident with that and you feel like you've mastered your throttle control and your inverted yaw spins, I would recommend trying it over some more difficult obstacles. Like something lower, like that, for example. Or you could do it through one of these gaps here, for example. You see? Even I fail sometimes. And then I saved it with a cheeky reverse bit at the end. Let's try again. Oh man, I sure had it. You see, and that's why your inverted yaw is so important to get perfect 180. So if you don't nail it, you're going to be heading in the wrong direction and then you're going to crash like I did before. Alright, let's see if I can get a combo instead. New combo, new trick combo. Oh, damn, there you go, there's a combo you can try. There's also a popular new one that came out recently, which is a Maverick loop, like that, mixed with an inverted yaw spin, which is called the Mavani, like that. That's another one that you can try. You can get creative with it, but like I said, just throwing a Barani combo into your lines, honestly, is good enough. And yeah, I do them all the time because they're just such a good trick to throw in. And all it takes is practice. Get to know your throttle control, get comfortable with your inverted yaws, like that. And those, in my opinion, are the two most important parts. And don't forget to practice your power loops and your matty flips, because obviously they're needed too. There you go, guys. Have fun. Okay, guys, so there you have it. That is pretty much how you do a Barani. Just to summarize, when you go through the gap, make sure you add enough throttle and pitch back enough so that you've got that backwards momentum and enough height so that you can go back over your gap, cut your throttle completely, do your 180 inverted yaw, then almost let gravity do the work as you spot your landing and only pitch as you're pitching forwards. Then when you pass the horizon again, add your throttle back in and make a smooth exit.
So I'm just going to interrupt myself here at the end to give you a special tip, the same tip that I spoke about earlier, that really helped unlock Baranis for me and helped me get them just way more consistently. And like I spoke about before, the easy part of the Barani for me is the first part, the power loop to the inverted yaw spin. But in order to nail that matty flip every single time, I'm going to give you a tip, and that is trust gravity. So when you're doing your Barani and you do your half power loop to your 180 inverted yaw spin, it's very easy to just kind of panic in the moment and rush your exit because you think, oh my god, I'm upside down, I've got to nail this trick, otherwise I'm going to crash or I'm going to smash into the ground upside down. If you just stay calm, and once you get upside down, you do your 180 inverted yaw spin, you spot your exit, and then just pause for a second, for a moment, and allow yourself to spot your exit. Once you start falling, then start pitching and don't rush your throttle. Only throttle when you pass the horizon, like I spoke about. So it's hard when you're doing these combos and they just happen so quickly, and it's hard to really concentrate on, or even pause for a second or even a split second in your brain to kind of think about what's going on. But if you really nail the first 2 parts of the trick, it will allow you that split-second time to then kind of pause, spot your exit, let gravity do the work, pitch out, and then only add throttle when you need it. Otherwise, you're just going to get the altitude wrong, basically. And what I mean by that is you're either going to crash into the top of the gap or you're going to crash into the ground. Of course, I still do this, but just not panicking and not rushing really allowed me to nail them more consistently. So trust gravity, that's my tip, and I hope that helped. Anyway, back to myself in the video.
And that's it. All it takes is practice. I would recommend doing it next to some high objects, maybe in between 2 trees or in between 2 buildings, something where you can spot how high you are and gauge your altitude. Because for me personally, that's one of the hardest things, especially when you've got nothing around you, to kind of spot how high you are. And once you got comfortable with your Baranis, you can also add in some other combos, like mixing with the Maverick loop and doing a Mavani, or adding another roll in between your inverted yaw spin. Good luck, and I hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. We're gonna make tutorials great again.